Dear viewers, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to dig recent hot topic of all newspapers regarding former President of United States. We are trying to answer all questions with facts in a very precise and shortest possible time. So let's start. In 2016, adult film star Stormy Daniels contacted media outlets offering to sell her account of what she said was an adulterous affair she had with Donald Trump in 2006. Mr. Trump's team got wind of this, and his lawyer Michael Cohen paid $130,000 to Ms. Daniels to keep quiet. This is not illegal. However, when Mr. Trump reimbursed Mr. Cohen, the record for the payment says it was for legal fees. Prosecutors say this amounts to Mr. Trump falsifying business records, which is a misdemeanor, a criminal offense in New York. Prosecutors could also potentially allege that this breaks election law because his attempt to hide his payments to Ms. Daniels was motivated by not wanting voters to know he had an affair with her. Covering up a crime by falsifying records would be a felony, which is a more serious charge. Even advocates for prosecution acknowledge that either way, this is by no means a clear-cut case. There is little precedent for such a prosecution, and past attempts to charge politicians with crossing the line between campaign, finance, and personal spending have ended in failure. It's going to be tough, says Catherine Christian, a former financial prosecutor for the New York City District Attorney. The decision on whether to file charges rests with New York City District Attorney Alvin Bragg. He set up the grand jury to investigate whether there was enough evidence to pursue a prosecution, and he is the only one who knows if or when an indictment will be announced. Last week, Mr. Trump's lawyers said that the former president was offered a chance to appear before the grand jury, which is considered a sign that the investigation is close to finishing. The lawyers have downplayed suggestions that they, or Mr. Trump, have any advance notice of an impending indictment, saying his comments about it, being Tuesday, were based on media reports. However, there are other signs that the grand jury is wrapping up. Both Michael Cohen and his former legal advisor Robert Costello have given testimony in recent days. Mr. Costello was put forward by Mr. Trump's defense team on Monday in an attempt to discredit Cohen's testimony. If Mr. Bragg decides to move ahead with charges, he will first inform Mr. Trump and his lawyers, setting off negotiations over how and when the former president will appear in New York City for his formal arrest and first hearing in court. The announcement of an indictment may come from the district attorney's office or from the Trump team, which has been quick to talk to the press as the story has unfolded. The document presenting the official charges against Mr. Trump will not be made public until a judge reads out the charges against him. Given the historic nature of such a move, and the security concerns involved, the details of Mr. Trump's New York appearance are somewhat uncertain. Mr. Trump's lawyers have indicated that he will cooperate with New York authorities, so there would be no warrant put out for his arrest. Mr. Trump has his own personal jet, so he could fly into one of several New York area airports and then make the journey to the lower Manhattan courthouse by car. As part of those negotiations with prosecutors, the court may also agree to grant him a private entrance to the court instead of the more typical perp walk in front of the assembled media. Once inside, however, Mr. Trump will be fingerprinted and have his mug shot taken like all defendants in criminal cases. He will also be read his Miranda rights, reminding him of his constitutionally protected right to a lawyer and to decline to talk to police. Defendants charged with a felony are typically handcuffed temporarily, although Mr. Trump's lawyers will try to avoid that for their client. Throughout the booking process, he will be accompanied by Secret Service agents. Mr. Trump would then wait in a holding area, or cell, until his appearance before a judge. The arraignment, the moment where a defendant enters their plea before a judge, is open to the public. Once the case is booked and a judge is selected, other details will fall into place, such as the timing of the trial and possible travel restrictions and bail requirements for the defendant. A conviction on a misdemeanor would result in a fine. If Mr. Trump were convicted on the felony charge, he would face a maximum sentence of 4 years in prison, although some legal experts predict a fine is more probable and that any time behind bars is highly unlikely, so there is much important question arise. An indictment or even a criminal conviction would not prevent Mr. Trump from continuing his presidential campaign if he so chooses, and he has given every indication that he will keep pushing ahead regardless of what happens. In fact, there is nothing in U.S. law that prevents a candidate who is found guilty of a crime from campaigning for and serving as president, even from prison. Mr. Trump's arrest would certainly complicate his presidential campaign, however. While it might cause some Republican voters to rally around their embattled champion, it could be a significant distraction for a candidate on the campaign trail trying to stump for votes and participate in debates. It would also deepen and inflame already sharp divides within the American political system. Conservatives believe the former president is being held to a different standard of justice, while liberals view this as an issue of holding lawbreakers, even those in the highest positions of power, accountable. Sources said that Trump has also been fixated on how an indictment might be a boon for his 2024 presidential campaign, betting that it would enrage his MAGA base and force the rest of the Republican Party to fall in line to defend him in what he has already characterized as a politically motivated prosecution. In the past, publicity over political and criminal investigations have benefited Trump's fundraising and forced Republican rivals to stumble between criticizing prosecutors and defending otherwise politically indefensible allegations. Whether an indictment benefits Trump for the 2024 campaign remains to be seen, given his grievance-driven campaigns have faltered in recent election cycles, with independent voters, in particular, seemingly exhausted by his constant refrains surrounding witch hunt investigations. That is all from us today, and we'll bring some exciting stuff in coming days. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and do let us know in comments section about all improvement and suggestions.